We're a bit distracted this week because the Mountaineers are playing on Thursday night, and I don't know, we kind of are watching the Browns and Steelers, but we're back for our Stone Cold Lead Pipe Locks and more. This is the We Don't Know Sports Podcast. Stay tuned. Welcome back once again to the We Don't Know Sports Podcast. This is Chad the Mark with
Mr. Brown
and
Canadian Biggie.
And guys, we are a bit distracted as we are now in the second half watching the Mountaineers here. But man, it feels like football season. It's hoodie and short weather, is it not?
Yeah, I don't know how it goes from 90 degrees yesterday to this today, and it's 54 degrees right now outside. We still got the door open.
Yeah, I was swimming yesterday.
Yeah,
and now we got this.
It's like it's not really that cold out, but where it was 90 yesterday, it feels a little extra chilly.
And we can smell like somebody burning the wood in the distance there. I mean, you can smell it in the air.
It's fireplace time.
Yeah. It smells like a crisp fire. And hopefully it's not a house. It's just somebody getting warm. But anyway, speaking of things cold, trying to get warm, we're hoping we can right the ship when it comes to our lead pipe locks here. And we're kind of distracted watching the Mountaineer game here in the background. They're in Blacksburg, Enter Sandman, all that good stuff. And right now it's 4 minutes left in the third, and they're up by 6, so we'll see if we can hold on.
And the sideline announcer has like Wolfman contact.
Yeah, I saw that out of the corner of my eye. What the hell was that?
That was kind of freaky.
What's he on?
It's Halloween.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe there's some performance-enhancing lenses they use in Blacksburg. I don't know.
Tripping balls.
He was tripping balls.
Those eyes were pretty damn big.
He was scoping something out. But so, hey, real quick, we talked about a little bit off mic, just because it took forever for our software to get right today for some reason. But I need you guys to explain a little bit baseball lore to me as we run into, we got like 12 games, 11 games, 10 games left when it comes to the regular season.
Yeah, there's about 2 weeks left in regular season.
Yeah. I feel like we're pretty much locked in when it comes to the playoffs and whatnot. Like that doesn't seem like there's too much left other than jockeying for position. But let's go to the AL MVP race because we have a couple things that are unprecedented right now. So Shohei Ohtani is unprecedented himself, right? Like he's having back-to-back campaigns that are phenomenal. And I think, Mr. Brown, you eloquently put it as he is not only the ace, but he's really the 1B offensive player just because he happens to play with a guy named Mike Trout.
Yeah, I mean, he'd be the guy had he not be playing for a team like with Mike Trout. So, I mean, he's your leadoff guy and he's your number one starter.
So, we were talking about like if he was in a New York market or something, how much more popular he was. And the thing I just now thought of is we look at the Blue Jays and all that young talent they got. Like we know all about them. We hear about them all the time. And, man, Donaldson
back in the game with a broken arm.
Anyway, he lives, but we know a Bichette and a Biggio, and they're not even putting up like all-star numbers, but we know who they are. So what would Ohtani be if he was on the evil empire? Not the Marlins, right? But like maybe not the Orioles, but if he was on like a New York team,
wouldn't he have Phillies, like the lore of Derek Jeter and the numbers of a roided up A-Rod?
It would be something of which New York has never seen, obviously. I feel like that had he been in New York, that
not since George Herman Ruth, right?
Exactly. I mean, I couldn't imagine him in New York. It would be madness.
Would it be too much for him? Do you think?
Yeah, you don't know until you.
I would definitely not know English. I would just forget all of it.
Oh, so a translator. Every time you don't want to answer something, you just say, shrug your shoulders.
All right, so Biggie, I mean, if you had to make a pick, who's your MVP?
For me, it's Shohei for what he does for his team, but there's a reason why Aaron Judge is going to win.
All right, and why's that?
There's the stats we were talking about earlier.
Well, what are those stats?
Over 22,000 players in the history of Major League Baseball. 6 have had 60 or more home runs in a season. Yeah. Aaron Judge is one of them. 22 have won the Triple Crown. If the season ended today, Aaron Judge would be the first player in the history of baseball, over 22,000 players, to hit over 60 home runs in the season that he wins the Triple Crown. The Yankees are in first place.
And to take it a step further, not only would he win the Triple Crown, he is leading the league in every major offensive category. So, like, it's more than a Triple Crown.
Is he the doubles leader?
He's leading in there was 10 categories he's leading the AL in.
I mean, I know batting average, on base percentage.
I don't
OPS,
have it in front of me, but
he's got slugging, all that.
Like his OPS is 1.1. Like that's legendary in itself. And the fact that he's doing the Triple Crown along with hitting home runs, like you don't always see that. But does Shohei get some I guess some limelight removed just because he happened to win it the year before? Like we know that writers often have recency bias in the opposite effect, where they won't give it to a guy again unless they were just out of this world, which he is. But like you said, historical run by Judge.
If Judge wasn't having as big of a season as he is having, maybe Shohei wins it again, but Judge is having that historical season.
Here's what's crazy, though. So even with this historical season, Shohei's year this year is better than last year.
Yeah.
His year is better than when he won the MVP. So Judge is going to win it because, like Biggie said, the Yanks are in first place, and it's in a New York market. But I wouldn't be mad if either one of them won it.
I mean, they're both deserving, right?
So the fact, like we was talking, Shohei, if you're starting a team today, right now, around one player, I can't say that you would say you'd pick Judge.
No,
because I mean he's a power hitter.
If you're doing a fantasy draft for just fantasy baseball, our league's a little different. But if you got Ohtani as both a pitcher and a batter, how is he not
pick every year?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I feel like many teams in Major League Baseball, they're like, do I want my number one starter and probably my top one or two hitters, or do I want Aaron Judge? And I'm telling you, most execs would say, I'll take Ohtani.
Yeah.
And that's not a slap to Judge. It's just that Ohtani's a freak.
Then the other thing, too, the league batting average this year is between 245 and 250. So you can say, well, Judge is hitting 317, 318. Ohtani's hitting in the 260s. He's still 15 points above the league batting average.
Yeah. I mean, and he still hits for power and all that, too. So you can't take that away from him. But let me ask you this last question on this topic. Does the fact that the Yankees are going to be playing in the postseason where the Angels are not, does that make a huge difference in how this might play out?
Absolutely.
I think that it does because the race is so close, although I'll die on this hill. Baseball is the only sport where it does not matter on your team's success if you win league MVP. Last year, the Nuggets were sixth and the Joker won back-to-back MVPs and people crapped all over their record. The Angels have not made the playoffs in 7 years. Mike Trout has 3 times as many league MVPs as he does playoff victories. I think them being in first and his numbers make a big play, but did the Angels make the playoffs last year with Ohtani? Were they second division, third division? They were dead last.
I like the way you kind of summed that up. All right, so the fact of the matter remains that with all the years of baseball history, we still have 2 unprecedented athletes at the same time right now. And if you're not watching, it's fantastic. It's only sad that we don't get to see Ohtani in the postseason because the Angels suck. But last thing, where does Judge finish? We keep asking this every single show. Where do you got him at? He's at 60 coming into tonight.
I'll say he finishes with 64.
64. Mr. Brown? He has not hit one tonight as far as we know.
I've said 64, 65 all along. I gotta stay with 64 because that's what I've been saying.
Yeah, I was a little higher. I think I was 65, 66. Now I'm 63, 64 just because it's getting tight and I don't know. It's just gonna be tough. All right, last baseball question before we move on. Pudgels, he's at 698. Does he get to 700?
Yes. I think he'll get to 700 or 701 by season's end. They'll roll into the playoffs, have a nice little fitting end to his career.
I think he's going to end on 700.
That'd be pretty cool.
It'll be even, yeah.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yep.
So how much you hit? 700.
Yeah.
That's perfect. I'm just glad he's where he's at. And I'm also glad that Judge passed A-Rod for any Yankee thing. No, I mean, Pujols passed A-Rod. So that way, he slides down the list a little bit. Yep. That sanctimonious son of a bitch. He can do that all day long. So, all right. So we feel that fall weather. So that means October baseball is coming, baby.
And one other thing about baseball, we talk about all the stuff that hasn't happened in 100 years. So Maris hit 61 in 61, and it's been 61 years since then, and Judge is going to break the record this year. I love baseball.
Is it? It's 61?
Maris hit 61 in 1961.
Yeah.
It's been
61
61
years
years. Now Judge is going to, I'm going to go ahead and say he's going to break the record. So it's 61 and 61 and
Maris's
61.
family's been coming to every home game or every game now. The whole family's there.
Hey, real quick, did you see the mosh pit over that 60th home run ball?
I did.
Like if
I
you're,
saw
if you're
where
in
the
the
Yankees-
outfield, like you're preparing for that, right? Like they're coming for you.
Yeah.
Yankees and Cardinals have banned a famous YouTuber. I can't remember his name right now from their stadiums for the remainder of the season. Apparently, he's some famous YouTuber who's going to try to get the ball and make a spectacle out of it or something. I don't know what the deal is, but the Yankees and I heard the Cardinals were going to do the same for the remainder of the season.
Ploy?
So
What's his angle?
I'd have to look it up further, but I just saw it on
Come
two
on,
different
man! You bring up this
feeds.
very interesting point, and we don't know.
Yeah.
All right,
Hey,
listeners.
also, too, this is off topic, but one of them, Roger Maris's sons, in my baseball group.
He is, and the name of that group is America's Pastime for the Love of Baseball, where Mr. Brown just gave away more autographs this evening, and we had good interaction. Even the boy got involved in the live stream, so that's
Absolutely.
always good.
Yep.
Make sure you guys check it out and set your calendar every Thursday before we do our podcast recording. We're giving away some goodies, man. All right, we can breathe a little easier as we go into this next segment as we've been watching our Mountaineers take a 23-10 lead. Let's hope it's fortuitous and it doesn't go the other way and we get completely distracted as we get into our Week 3 NFL Stone Cold Lead Pipe Locks. But we're not playing the NFL music just yet. Let's take a deep breath and I'll start and we'll talk about just takeaways from Week 2 in the world of the NFL. I got to say, the Bengals could easily be 2-0, but they don't know how to do that. Instead, they're 0-2, and the Super Bowl hangover is real. Joe Burrow's got some problems. The offensive line's got some problems. And
Joe Burrow's on pace to be sacked 127 times. I bring that up because when they signed Lyle Collins, didn't he come from Dallas?
Yeah.
Wasn't his quote something along the lines of, "Don't worry, your bodyguard's here now"?
Yeah, so, he missed practice today, and part of his contract is he gets a $100,000 bonus for every game he plays in because he's been so injury-prone, so his ass better back up what he already said. But the thing is, I've told people this all week. I've told them this since last year, even going to the Super Bowl. Man, I am not in love with Zach Taylor as a play caller by any means. And I, as the casual fan, can sit there and watch. And I'm telling people watch this. The running back's not going to stand and block and Burrow's going to be under pressure immediately. So if I know that, then the defense knows that. And guess what? Burrow knows it too. So he's already running for his life before the snap. It's just, it might be like week 5 or 6, they'll figure it out and then they'll be decent again. But until then, it's going to suck. It sucks. That's what happens when you get 4 out of 5 new offensive linemen.
When we talked the other day, that's what I told you. I think they'll surge late like they did last year. They got to kind of gel together. As long as they keep Burrow upright and they can protect him a little bit better, well, a lot better than they have been. Too much talent on offense not to roll.
Nah, it's bad. And they can't even run the ball right now with that. And we made Cooper Rush look like the next big thing. But I'm not alone in misery. Biggie, your team did find a way to win.
It was against the Steelers, though.
So,
I will say this. They won 17-14. It was a very extremely boring game to watch. I'm a diehard Patriots fan, and that game was boring. The best thing that came out of last Sunday for me as a Patriots fan was the fact we held the Dolphins to 13 points, and the one touchdown they scored on offense was on a blown coverage on a 4th and 7. The Dolphins next week put up 42. So maybe our defense
will say
is
that
good.
Ravens defense did a really good job of letting the receivers get behind them all second half long. So maybe their defense is trash, but
We'll find out when they play us this week.
all right. And then Mr. Brown, your Raiders, man, they looked like they were cruising to a victory. And
So
then,
just like your Bengals, we find new ways to lose games.
including letting toddlers run wild.
Yeah, toddlers running wild. They have all the time in the pocket they need, just running around. He probably had more rushing yards in the pocket than we're going to have all season. But Raiders are doing Raider things. I mean, I expect it. But the game of the week was clearly Baltimore and Miami.
That was must-see TV.
Tua's coming out party. He's the third Dolphin in the history of the franchise to score 6 touchdowns throw behind Dan Marino and Bob Greasy.
I mean, he had 2 picks, but they were early. And, the other thing is, he doesn't target one of those guys. Like, Waddle and Hill together their numbers are almost identical.
Right.
Like, are they going to be that good? Is this what Miami is? Are they? Biggie's shaking his head no because he saw that Patriots.
He's the same quarterback on Monday that he was on Saturday.
Well, he looked awful damn good on Sunday, so I'll say that. All right, so with the rest of the league, is it Buffalo and everybody else, or is there a close second for you?
I think there's a clear gap between Buffalo and everybody else.
Like, clearly, right? I'm with you.
So then you got Tampa and Kansas City's like on the second tier behind Buffalo.
Yeah, and I think Kansas City's much better than Tampa. Tampa's offenses look putrid so far, and they got so many health issues.
Brady don't look right.
He looks like, what does he look like?
He looks like if someone drew Kevin Bacon from memory.
Right. That's exactly what he looks like. He needs to stay off whatever the TB12 diet's giving him. And I guess today he took a rest day, didn't he? Isn't that how it works?
Yeah, he's taking every Wednesday off for the rest of the year. I don't know. Maybe his marital troubles are kicking him in the crotch. I don't know. He missed 11 days in camp. He looked weird when he came back, almost like he'd had plastic surgery. His arm strength isn't quite what it was.
Apparently, they've been living apart for a month now.
Yeah.
Separate houses.
Very strange.
Yeah, I mean, troubled times here, and maybe he'll just retire in week 6. I don't know. But
I don't know. I will say this, completely agree with you. If they're going to be one of the top 4 or 5 teams in the league this year, it's going to be their defense that carries them.
Let me ask you about the Rams. They were bouncing back after that tough loss to the Bills, which we've already asserted that they are by far the best team in all of football. And they looked like they were cruising to a pretty good victory over the hapless Falcons, who made it a game and covered.
Yep.
So
they almost did their own 28-3.
They did. They were hell bent on it and just came up a little short. But the Rams don't look that good.
No, they don't. That Falcons team fights good. They came out like a ball of fire, and then they kind of quit playing. Start of the fourth quarter. I think the Rams and the Niners now with Jimmy G at quarterback, I like the Niners so much better with him at quarterback than when they were playing Trey Lance.
Well, we had the Niners creep into our top 10 power rankings just because of that. And then Vegas also improved their overall wins this year by like 2 just based off of that. We got the Chiefs at 2, the Bucks at 3. Let's talk about number 4. We came out with the Philadelphia Eagles. And you want to talk about a nice smackdown on Monday night. What happened to your Vikings that you're so high on, man? They got showed up. Was everybody too busy looking at that girl in the black pants?
There was a lot of people looking at that.
You can see your damn drink down on that.
Oh, my God.
What surprised me, the same thing the Vikings benefited from the first week when the Packers sat in the same zone coverage. They did like – the Eagles wide receivers getting free release. They just ate them up. Jalen Hurts, I picked the Eagles to win the division because I felt like they were the best of the worst division or one of the worst divisions in football. But the way that they've looked the first couple of weeks is really impressive.
Yeah, I mean they're built just right, like what they're doing and how they're attacking and they're running back by committee and all that stuff. Like they're dangerous, man. I'm really high on Philly right now, probably higher than I should be. So we'll see how that shakes out in the end because it's the NFC East and they suck.
Yeah,
smoke and mirrors, But that being said, you guys ready to play some music? We already said it felt like fall. The smell was in the air. The campfire's burning in the distance. Hopefully it'll be some burning couches as we watch the Mountaineers continue to move downfield against the Hokies. They're going to win. But let's see if we can get back on track. If you haven't been following along at home in our Stone Cold Lead Pipe Locks, we pick against the spread every week. Last week, man, it wasn't great. Nobody was over 500. I, believe it or not, had the best record, which makes you already question the existence of even doing this stupid thing. Mr. Brown, tough week at 3-13. He's flirting with the Costanza method, potentially. And then Biggie, you and Turbo went 6-10. But honestly, we saw only about 40 people nationwide that are blue check marked on Pick Watch were over 500. So, we can ride it with 1 week. So without further ado, let's get into it. We had tonight's game. We already posted. Everybody picked the Steelers. except for Mr. Brown, who
It's not looking good so far.
we don't know how it's going to shake out. Doesn't look good so far, but let's go.
So, real quick, as equally as impressive as I was last year on Thursdays, I'm equally as bad this year so far on
I
Thursdays.
mean, things come
early.
full
It's
circle.
early.
This will be 0-3 on Thursdays, I think.
Full circle is all we got. So, all right, let's see if we can get things right with the hapless Texans. Not really. The Neck is coming to town to Chicago. The Bears are a 3-point favorite at home, Biggie.
I'm going to roll with the Bears, the monsters of the Midway, to win at home and cover this 3. I do love the Santa beard from Lovey. I hope he never shaves.
I'm also going with the Bears. I feel like they bounced back after Rodgers spanked him and once again said he was their daddy.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of goes without saying that the Packers are going to beat the Browns, and it's at home. The Bears by 3. I mean, it'll probably be a push, but I think the Bears get at least 3 on that. So, okay, the Bears across the board. All right, Mr. Brown, your Raiders trying to get right on the road against a team who has been just absolutely dog shit as far as I'm concerned. The Titans, they're actually giving the Raiders 2.5 at home.
Yeah, I mean, both teams are 0-2. It's on the road, right? Yeah.
It's in Tennessee.
Yeah. Both teams are 0-2. Raiders find new ways to lose every week. I mean, they have a way better offense on paper, and it's on the road. It's tough for me.
That's a tough one. Anyway.
Raiders can't stop the run. I gotta go Raiders just because the talent has to shine through at some point. I mean, over Tennessee.
Everything you were saying up until it made me think he was taking the Titans.
He was doing the Lee Corso.
Yeah, whoop.
Not so fast.
Not so fast, my friend. Biggie, who you got?
I'm rolling with the Raiders that were up 20-0 last week, kind of before they hit a rough spot offensively, quit moving the ball. I think that it's going to take Derek Carr a few more games before he gets in the same groove with McDaniels that he was with Gruden, where they worked together real well. The offense moved the ball seamlessly. It didn't matter if the defense could stop the run. I think that they win by a touchdown. I think that this week, next week, week 5, somewhere in there, we're going to see the rookie QB playing for the Titans.
I thought we were going to see more of him last week. He got to play a little bit. It looks like they're still scared to throw the ball with Malik Willis in there. But I believe that the Bills will have beaten the Titans 2 weeks in a row because that beatdown was so damn bad. The Raiders are going to come in and pick the carcass. They'll cover that. So we're across the board on the Raiders. All right, another team that has just absolutely been putrid, man. They got smacked by the Jaguars. The Colts at home are giving 5.5 to the Chiefs.
So I'll be the first to admit when I'm right and hate to admit when you're wrong, but I was dead wrong on the Indianapolis Colts because I thought they would win the division, 10-11 games, be a competitive team that made a push into the divisional round of the playoffs. And you know what? I still believe they can do that. Give me the Colts at home to cover.
You know, none of us referenced the fact on last week's show that it was Peterson against Reich, and he just knew all these tricks, man. And the Jaguars just happened to have the Colts number lately. So, you know, maybe it was an anomaly. I'll give you that.
I will say this. Missed it last week. Chris Bieber was listening to the show, and he said he wished he could have listened live because when we all went with the Colts, he wanted to tell us, by the way, Frank Wright has never beat Jacksonville as the head coach.
Oh, never.
Nope.
Never. Wow. I know they're 8-10 against them or something like that. It's crazy. 8 out of the last 10. Mr. Brown, again, it's 5.5 for the Chiefs on the road.
I mean, after watching what happened, I picked up their freaking defense in fantasy because they were playing Jacksonville. It made it worse that I had Tampa Bay's defense on the bench. So I think the Chiefs cover this easily, and they're going to win by 10.
The Chiefs, there's no way.
Ryan cannot keep up with Patrick Mahomes.
This is not going to. We're locking this in at 5.5. There's no way it's 5.5 come Sunday. This thing's going to be like 7 or 8 because the money is going to be on the Chiefs. You got Pick Watch up right now. How much is on the Chiefs? What percent of the bet is coming on the Chiefs?
85%.
85%. Biggie's a 15%er, and he's our lone wolf.
Yeah, put him down.
The Galloping Ghost.
Put him down.
0-2. Frank Wright's job is on the line. They're going to come out fighting hard at home.
Need to send him to the glue factory. All right. To me, the game of the week is this one. The Buffalo Bills They're heading down south to Miami. The Dolphins are going to give the Bills 5.5. Does that South Florida Heat get Buffalo, or do they show?
5, by the way.
You got 5?
Yeah.
You're showing 5? All right, let's make an adjustment to +5 because we're doing this live right now. So, at 5 points, Bills at Miami.
Give me the Bills. To put every one of those Dolphins, including the one that Ace Ventura was going for. He might be alive. He might be dead. Somebody ate him. If he's alive, he's going through a table too. They're going to completely take over South Florida. The Dolphins are going to come in riding high, thinking that Tua's the man. The Bills are going to remind them he's a piece of crap, and that's why they wanted Deshaun Watson.
Exactly. Hey, I keep saying week after week, Tua needs to show me something. Well, you can't do much better than 6 touchdown passes, third time in franchise history.
Now, Biggie's still going to shit on him, though.
But the thing is, you can go back and forth between him and Lamar. That's one thing. But this is Josh Allen and the jugular. What do you call it? Jugular knot. I don't know. Of the NFL. I mean, this is the
Juggernaut.
Bills,
jugular
knot, and everyone else. It's the Bills and everyone else. So Josh Allen and the Bills are going to come into Miami, and they're going to roll, and they'll cover this easily.
Hey, I got the Dolphins going for the jugular. Not. It's the Bills. They're definitely covered. We're Bills across the board. All right, how about the fighting, biting kneecaps, the Detroit Lions on the road to Biggie's second favorite team, the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings get 6 points at home.
God, that's a lot of points for the Vikings to have at home when the Lions are really a cover king. And the Lions have led the league in scoring so far. They've scored 69 points through 2 weeks.
What?
Yes. It is amazing what they have done. I would really love to hit the Vikings on this a lot more if it was less than 6. But I'm still going to do it. Because they're going to bounce back. Kirk Cousins ever so often has to remind you he's a really shitty average QB. He did that last week. This is his bounce back week.
I'm going to go the opposite of everything you just said. I'm taking the Lions because they like to cover, and I like what they're doing so far. And right now they're the 77% betting favorite. So I'm going to take the Lions to cover.
I'm also taking the Lions, but I'm going to say it better than you said. I'm not doing it the opposite of what he said. Biggie said the claim. He said the Lions are cover kings, are the best offense in the NFL. Like, he said why you should pick the Lions, and he's picking with his heart. He's looking at his son, who's a Vikings fan. He's like, don't worry, son. Not everybody's going to be the Eagles every week. We're going to bounce back here. No, it's not going to happen. They might win the game, but you know what,
though? He should be like, son, life's not fair.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins is our quarterback.
Every stat I know about football, and when these two teams play, tell me at 6 points I should take the Lions to cover because these are always close games, but I just can't do it this week.
Well, give us your lone wolf.
Skol!
That was terrible. That's about as enthusiastic as the Vikings covering.
Skol! Skol, motherfucker!
That was better. At least a little more passion there. All right, the Ravens. Oh, man, Biggie, we're going hard on you here. The Patriots hosting the Ravens. Ravens were trying to bounce back after letting the Dolphins just come back in that game. They are a 2.5-point road favorite coming into New England.
So this game is tough for me to pick in one way. I think that the Ravens are the better team. They're going to bounce back and get the victory here. But with as poorly as their defense played last week against the Dolphins, it makes me wonder just how good the Patriots' defense is. Having said all that, I feel as though the Patriots' offense is so bad right now, we're not going to be able to keep up with them scoring 20, 23, 24 points. And at a field goal game, I got to take the Ravens. I hate to do this. Love Lamar Jackson. I hate Harbaugh, but have to take the Ravens to cover on the road.
I think this is the first time ever he's not picked the Patriots.
It might be.
In the history of the
might
show.
be. He's desperate to get back on track here. He can't even go homer alert 2 picks in a row.
With that long-winded response he just gave, I mean, to me, it's quite obvious that the Ravens are going to win by at least 3 points.
Yeah, I don't have much to add except for I feel like historically when it comes to the running style quarterback, Belichick usually gets his team prepared and they play really well against a running quarterback. But that being said, I think it just means the Ravens don't win by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
They'll still win. They're going to cover that easy spread. So it's Ravens across the board. All right, now we get to go down to the depths of Chad the Marks fandom where the Bengals are on the road to the Jets, Jets, and Joe Flacco's Miracle Comeback Tour. And you know what? The Bengals are still picked to win by 6, so that's a tough one. You want me to go first or last here?
You started off, Sir Chadwick.
So I feel like at some point the Bengals have to right the ship, right? Like they got to get it done. The Jets are going to be on that emotional high. Like I'm just going to will the Bengals to cover a freaking game and win a game. And this is it. If you can't get right against the Jets, I'm going to say it right now, no matter what. If the the Mountaineers are 6. That don't even matter. The game's so out of hand. The West Virginia went into Blacksburg.
A PAT here, and they hit the 33 points.
So I gotta say that with all that momentum, the Bengals are going to cover. But if they don't cover this game, I will not pick them to cover another game the remainder of the season.
I concur.
So let's. So I guess you got the Bengals as well.
Yes.
All right. So let's talk about the Joe Flacco and
the miracle comeback.
The greatest agent in the history of the NFL. I believe Flacco's turned back the clock, and he's got 5 touchdowns and 1 interception so far this year.
He's third in the league in pass yards through 3 weeks or 2 weeks.
I'm going to continue with the Bengals and their World Series, their Super Bowl hangover.
Okay.
And I think Joe Flacco is going to keep it close. I think the Bengals win, but they win by 3.
Okay. All right, so I'll take that, even if it just means the Bengals win. But you're the lone wolf going with the Jets.
Jets, Jets.
All right. See, that's enthusiasm. That was better than your crappy skull until we had to we had to guilt trip you into something better. All right, I love the spread on this game for some reason. The Eagles on the road to D.C. and the Commanders, the Fighting Emails, where the Eagles are a 6.5-point favorite.
Before I go here, if you'd like to start, I'm just curious, why do you love this spread?
Because I think the Eagles are going to absolutely just destroy them. Like, just absolutely beat the dog shit out of them. Where's Vegas at on this right now? Where's the money coming in?
It's coming in heavy on the Eagles, 70%.
70, so not quite as heavy as the Chiefs on the Colts, but it's pretty heavy.
So I look at common opponent here, and I'm with you. I love the 6.5 because I feel like I'm taking the Eagles, but I feel like on an off day for the Eagles, they win this game by 7 points. They played a common opponent, the Detroit Lions. Philly was up 3 touchdowns, fell asleep late, ended up winning by 3. Washington was down 3 touchdowns, came alive late. I think that I'm with you. They cover the 7 easy, and it could be 10, 14, 17.
You can't use the Eagle or the Lions as a barometer. We already talked about how they're cover kings. They just happen to make that happen every week. So
they are good.
All right, Mr. Brown.
I'm going Eagles as well. I have zero faith in Carson Wentz to do anything in a positive fashion.
Although he had a ton of passes.
He's got 7 touchdowns through 2 weeks.
I don't see him having the ability to win a big game, and he needs to win this game, but the Eagles are going to continue to roll. Eagles easy.
Oh my God, it's the best run of the night for them. What happened to the yellow line? There's technical difficulties happening on ESPN the Ocho here. All right, here's a team that I think this is an appropriate spread. This is a tough one for me. The Saints, who I think are terrible, they have no offense whatsoever. They're on the road to the Panthers, who, for all you can look at Baker Mayfield's stats. If I'm not, I might not be right on this, but I believe the stat was he had 9 drop passes in last week's game. And I watched a lot of that because I was rooting for Baker. I want to see him get a win. The Panthers are at home, but they're giving 2.5 to the Saints.
I'm taking the Panthers at home to cover this. They lost 1 game at the beginning of the season on a late field goal at the last play of the game. They lost last week by a field goal. Like you just said, they've had a ton of drop passes, and they still have CMC, who's healthy. The Saints are not a very imposing team, healthy-ish. I'm going to take the Panthers to get their first win of the season at home because it's another situation. Matt Rule came in, got a big contract. They have underperformed. You start 0-3, it's just like Frank Wright. Heads might start to roll. This is a big game for Carolina.
So I'm going with the Saints. You talk about CMC. He's questionable in today's injury report.
Yes.
And they brought it up that they don't know, but we'll see. Even if he plays, I still like I said, I was talking about Winston. There's
almost another interception.
I like Winston's long-term season stats. Like, he's not playing Tampa Bay's defense every week.
No.
He'll rebound this week through the air. He's got Thomas. He's got Landry. Kamara should be back this week, not Mark Ingram. So I think the Saints cover. I win by 6.
Yeah, I think 2.5 is a pretty easy spread for the Saints to cover. And I don't know if you want to give me this lone wolf, I'm going to help you. I'm going to present this for the Panthers. So you pick the Panthers as the lone wolf. They're not going to cover. So just imagine Vincent Kennedy McMahon walks into the office, looks at Matt Rule in the face on Monday, and what does he say, Biggie? You're fired. Exactly. So there's your lone wolf on the Panthers. So Matt Rule's job is in your hands, Biggie. Good luck. Meow.
Coming to West Virginia.
So the Jaguars, who looked incredible, like just dominant last week, they're going out west to the Chargers, and the Chargers 7-point home favorites.
See, this one's a tough game for me to pick with the spread at 7. I love the Chargers, but it seems like they end up playing a lot of close games.
They do, don't they?
And Jacksonville is a much better coached team this year than they have been.
Just because they don't have Urban? What? You're out of your mind. Hey. Put some respect on that man's name.
Not everybody can kick kickers and get away with it. I think that the Chargers win this game. I almost said San Diego Chargers. But the thing about them playing in LA is there's going to be as many Jacksonville fans there as there are Charger fans.
Wait a minute. Jacksonville, they don't travel.
They do for Trevor Lawrence.
He's not really sunshine from California.
Oh. Well, shit, there goes the whole thing I was thinking.
He might kiss you in the locker room, though.
He might.
I think the Chargers win, but that Jacksonville covers.
Hey, so it's Herbert and Matt Ryan. I mean, my God. This isn't freaking...
That's not apples to apples?
No, it's the Chargers. They're going to win. They're going to crush the Jaguars. The Jaguars aren't playing Matt Ryan. It's simple. I know the Chargers played out of their competition, but at a certain point, Eckler and the boys, they got to show up, and they just got to take somebody to the woodshed.
Yeah, I think this is that game where they're definitely going to do that. And I base all this on the pregame tunnel speech I saw Trevor Lawrence give as they were coming out. Did you happen to see that?
I did not.
All right, so he turns around. Like, tell me this doesn't get you fired up or motivated. I'm Trevor Lawrence. All right, let me get into character. All right, fellas. Let's go have a good game and get that dub.
Let's eat a W. He didn't even do eat a W.
That was it. That was all he did. And they went out, and then they beat the Colts. So maybe that's all you need is that quiet confidence. But he's not inspiring me to get that dub out west against the Chargers. So Biggie, once again, is checking in as the lone wolf. Wow. There you go.
That was confident.
Oh, that was good. I like that. All right, the Rams and Cardinals. These are always interesting games in this division. The Cardinals at home are giving 3.5 to the Rams.
I love that there's the hook on it with the 3.5 because it's going to be a close game. These ones typically are. The Rams are a better team, but like we talked about earlier, they're not as good starting out this season as we expected.
Well, and I remember last year, like, the Rams were on fire and the Cardinals went into L.A. and whipped them.
Yep.
You know? So I don't know. What happens this time?
The Cardinals cover at home.
I also think the Cardinals cover. I feel like they gained so much confidence, especially Kyler, that second half of the Raiders game coming back. Not only scoring the touchdown when they needed, but getting the 2-point conversion. He had all the time to run around. And the Rams defense hasn't looked like the normal Rams defense that we're used to seeing. So I feel like they're gonna propel off of that confidence, and I think the Cardinals actually win this game.
I mean, it could go either way. I think 3.5 is an interesting spot to give the Rams. You could honestly put that at like a 1, and because you're asking, are the Rams able to win in Arizona? They put that half on there as kind of a little kicker there, but yeah. I don't know. I already got mine. My hands are up here. I've already typed my answer. Where's the money at coming in on Vegas in this one?
It's coming in on your Los Angeles Rams.
You know why? Because they're going to cover, baby. I got the Rams on here because the Super Bowl contenders are going to get right. I think they're still the darlings of the NFC. They just, they're playing the long game. It's 17, game season. They don't have to do it all right now, but they're going to do it in the division when it matters, and they're going to take care of calamari, and it's going to be the Rams all day long for my lone wolf. But, sorry, calamari can't get it done 2 weeks in a row. All right, this is a game between the Birds. This game's for the Birds. The Falcons going up to Seattle. It's basically a pick 'em. Seattle at 1 at home.
I'm taking the Falcons, who are just fighting their asses off for Arthur Smith. They have come back in each game while they never quit fighting. Were they playing the Rams? What was it? We were laughing about it being.
No, they were blown
28-3.
out. Yeah,
They had a chance there at the end when Mariota gets sacked to throw one into the end zone for the win. So, in a pick'em game like this with two crappy teams, give me the one I've seen fight really hard for 2 weeks.
You're not worried about that home field advantage in Seattle?
I mean,
It's only home field advantage when your team's good. They showed out in week 1 because Russ was coming to town. Look at what they looked like last week. They had a touchdown. It was a defensive touchdown. I love Geno. Only 1 of 25 for like 114 yards. Like
49ers defense is a little different than
I was trying to influence you, but I'm also going Falcons. I feel like Mariota does more probably to keep him in the game than Geno. So I think Falcons are going to probably win this game.
It's a pick 'em to me, and it's hard when it's a cross-national flight and you're coming out from the East Coast out to the West Coast. Not as bad as the West Coast going to the East Coast on those 1 o'clock games. I get that. But I'm just taking Seattle solely for the fact they're home. I'm not really that confident in it. I'm not going to sit here and bang the drum for them. The Falcons, yeah, they've been coming back, but man, they get down in every game too. Like if they get down to Seattle on the road with that crowd, can they come back? I doubt it. So I'm just taking the Seahawks to cover, but you guys are probably right taking the Falcons.
What's weird is that Falcons are the underdog and they're at 55%.
Yeah. I mean, it's because it's a damn 1-point spread, so we'll see what happens. Caw! Or bark, 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 bark.
See chicken.
All right, the Packers going down to South Florida to play Tampa. Tampa's 1-point favorite at home.
This one's tough for me.
Yeah, it is for me too. It's basically a pick'em game. Like we just talked about, Bucs offense hasn't really been playing up to what they have been the last couple of years with Brady. Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers, again, treated week 1 as a preseason game, came back week 2, whooped up. But it was the Bears who they always whoop up on. I'm taking the Bucs at home with that defense to win this game. Now, Mike Evans may or may not play. They only have 2 healthy wide receivers.
He's suspended.
He's appealing.
Yeah, he's not.
He's appealing. Godwin's injured. They just signed Cole Beasley. Really, you should like to take the Packers in this game. I just can't do it. I like the Bucs at home here.
I gotta take the Bucs, and it's not because of Brady. They're showing out as like one of the top 2 defenses in the league right now. If they continue down this path, Rodgers really don't have any weapons other than I did like the fact that they lined up Aaron Jones in the slot and they threw him in some receiver mixes last week, and then they put Dillon in at the same time.
Dude, Dillon had 18 carries last week, and Jones still managed to have like 20-something fantasy points. They're really putting those 2 together back there.
So they was putting their talents together, which was nice, and I think that's good for play calling. But I still think Tampa's defense is up for that, and I'm going to go Tampa.
Yeah, I feel like you guys are just conspiring against me as I'm once again bringing that lone wolf energy here. As I just think Tampa has looked just terrible. Like I am not confident in them at home right now. I think this is the year. I don't know. Here's a cold take that everyone says every year for the past 5 years that this is where we see Brady doesn't belong in the league anymore because he's an old-ass man. You saw the soul get sucked out of him. You see Kevin Bacon looking like ass out there playing. Now his ring finger's hurt on his throwing hand. There's issues in Tampa Bay. And what's up with Bruce Arians on the sideline starting fights, man? Like,
yeah, they were investigating him for telling Mike Evans to go fight.
Yeah. So I mean, there's some issues out here. So I'm taking Green Bay. I feel like Aaron Rodgers has got more left in the tank than Brady does right now. So
like 8 years younger. Right?
It's the regular season. It's not the playoffs. Give me Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay. Go, Pack, go!
And we need to get Latimer and Mike Evans in a pay-per-view, I think.
Yeah, that'd be better than
they play.
That'd be better than AP and Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, give me something. But, I got Green Bay there. So, all right, 49ers going into Mile High. 49ers with Jimmy G under center. They're a 1.5-point favorite.
Nathaniel Hackett just called a timeout because he wasn't sure if he should have called one last week, and he just made a decision.
Can't take him with you, Hackett.
Yeah. God, I go back and forth. I've clicked each team on this one so far. I really like the Niners with Jimmy G at quarterback. I think they're a lot better team. It's just weird. I feel like Denver at home should initially finally get
This is
it going.
Sunday night game too. Just
Yeah.
So you know.
This will probably be the last week this happens, and I really love the Niners, so it kind of perturbs me to do this, but either Russ gets it going this week offensively with Hackett and their receivers, or we all recognize what I think my fantasy team's about to pick up on, and that is Russ can't cook because he is cooked. So I'm taking Broncos Sunday night, home field advantage to cover this one.
You've really had to talk yourself into that one.
It was hard.
I don't have a big, long, drawn-out response like that, but all I've got to say is the power of porn. Porn is back. Niners. Jimmy G.
Handsome Kirk Cousins. That was your lone wolf. You both know. You know we're both taking the Niners here, and the thing is, we were talking. I don't know if it was all of us or maybe just me and one of you guys, but there's certain players when they go to the right team and that team buys into that player, like Lamar Jackson, Baltimore, where they build the whole.
See how excited all those guys were in the Niners last week when Garoppolo came in.
Yeah, because they know we don't suck again. Like we're gonna win. But like you see how the Eagles have embraced Jalen Hurts and how they're playing. I'm not saying Russ is the same type of player, but when he was in Seattle, man, they were the most effective whenever they played within his skill set and they built the rest of the team around him. Denver just brought him in and saying, he's a gunslinger, baby. That's not who Russ is. And it's not going to work. It's not. They're going to have to reset and kind of readdress where they're at. Niners all day long, man. So that moves us into the last game, and we love the NFC least. But we got the Dallas Cowboys with Cooper Rush at the helm coming into the Meadowlands playing the G-Men. The Giants are a 1-point home favorite.
So when the Giants won the first week, it was the first time they were over 500 since the Obama administration. They're going to lose to the Gold Rush known as Cooper. And here's what's going to happen. By the time Dak can come back and play, they're not going to want him.
Make it a controversy? Is that your hot take?
Just like last week, Dak's a far better player, of course. I'm full of shit there. But he plays within his means. That roster is really talented. I think the Giants are the most overrated shit show of a 2-0 team in the history of football.
You're not wrong there.
I'm actually going to go with the Giants. I feel like Danny Dimes and Saquon's enough to continue, and they're not the Bengals, so I think they're going to be all right.
Is that your leading NFL rusher, Saquon Barkley?
If he's not first, he's second.
He's up there. You ain't first, you're last, baby. But I also have the G-Men. They're at home. I'm just looking. It's kind of like that Seattle-Atlanta game. I'm just going with the home guy here. So give me the Giants at home. So get along, little doggy.
You know what?
You're like 8 lone wolves.
It could be.
We're on a lot of lone wolves. You can tell we have not started off the season well.
Wow. Micah Parsons, Dallas Cowboys. I don't think I've ever loaned with the Cowboys because I don't know what to do other than giddy up.
That works. Giddy up. That was painful to get through. We got
this could be really painful Monday morning.
Some ones are going to look really good, and the rest of us are going to look really bad. That's what's going to happen. But this has been your Week 3 NFL Stone Cold Lead Pipe Locks. Take a deep breath. It'll be okay.